Eknath Shinde, who is the leader of the dissidents in the Shiv Sena, has now reached Mumbai, and he's going to be meeting BJP leaders Devendra Fadnavis over there, and then presumably Devendra Fadnavis and Mr. Shinde, who might actually take over as the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, will proceed to meet the governor. That's the expectation. The swearing in would, it's unclear. There's a possibility of a small swearing in taking place today. But that is, in a sense, the man of the moment, Eknath Shinde. He was successful in breaking the Shiv Sena, getting more than 40 or approximately 40 MLAs on his side. It was his moves to rally those supporters around him, to break the camp of Uddhav Thackeray. Who would have thought that questions are being raised about how the Thackerays are no longer the dominant group in the Shiv Sena? Well, the fact of the matter is that the man there on your screen, Eknath Shinde, is the dominant leader. Now, how this plays out legally going forward, what actually happens to the symbol of the Shiv Sena, that's something that's going to be fought out, possibly legally. But for the moment, he is in Mumbai after quite a Bharat Darshan that saw him and his band of supporters of MLAs, a large number going from Mumbai to Surat, Surat to Guwahati, Guwahati to Goa, and now he is back. His MLAs are still in Goa at this stage, but he's meeting Devendra Fadnavis, and possibly they'll be headed to the governor next. My colleague Saurabh Gupta joins us for more on this. So Eknath Shinde now arrives in Mumbai, victorious with the supporters that he has. What happens next, Saurabh? Saurabh?
Yes.
Saurabh, you're on air. Can you tell us what happens next?
Well, next is, of course, Devendra Fadnavis arrives here at, the Sagar, he's at Sagar Bungalow, which is his official residence. From here, there he comes to, the governor's residence, along with, and there, of course,
with Saurabh Gupta, we'll come back to him in a little while from now. But Devendra Fadnavis will stake claim to form the government today. That's a big development today. Uddhav Thackeray, in an interview to NDTV just a few minutes back, said that they were utterly, completely betrayed by the Shinde group and all of the dissidents. But that's an old story now as far as that sense of betrayal, because there's going to be a new government in Maharashtra. Now, a lot of questions will be asked about the process which takes place. The Shinde camp has already issued a whip to Shiv Sena MLAs. In other words, they've issued a whip to all the MLAs who are still with Uddhav Thackeray, basically making the point that we are the only Shiv Sena, we are the real Shiv Sena, you are ordered to follow Eknath Shinde. And will that actually take place? Will there be the last batch of supporters loyal to Uddhav Thackeray breaking away from the Thackerays? What does this mean for the future of Uddhav Thackeray, for Uddhav Thackeray going forward? So that's a big question. That's a key question going forward. But for now, it's a moment of victory for Eknath Shinde as he's arrived in Mumbai, not with all of his MLAs. They're all still in Goa, but he's likely to be sworn in to take oath as Chief Minister today. Fadnavis will take oath as Chief Minister today. He is likely to be there as the Deputy Chief Minister. Let's go back to Saurabh Gupta now. Saurabh, what is expected today?
Well, at this point, what we know is that Eknath Shinde is at Sagar Bungalow, which is Devendra Fadnavis' residence. It's the official residence that Devendra Fadnavis has. That's also not very far from, the Raj Bhavan. And this is all in the Malabar Hill area of South Mumbai. And then, of course, from there, he's expected to come here. There is still a little bit of doubt over whether the swearing ceremony will happen today or tomorrow. But there are several reports indicating that it might happen today as well, or it might happen tomorrow. And it's going to be a quick swearing in because, like we've been reporting, there's also, and my colleague Sanket also has been reporting, there's also the BJP national executive that's happening. So in all likelihood, we are going to see Devendra Fadnavis and perhaps Eknath Shinde being sworn in. And then the rest, of course, will happen later. So this, of course, is something that, is going to happen in the next few hours or at least until tomorrow. But the process of swearing in will be completed by tomorrow at the latest. And then, of course, we could see more negotiations on other, ministries, other portfolios, and other things. Now, like we were saying, the Shiv Sena has been very aggressive. I think that by Uddhav Thackeray to say that what, positions are these rebel MLAs going to get? And that's one question, because remember, and a key view of that is of course going to be the, so I can just see, in fact, the convoy arriving. I think this is Devendra Fadnavis' convoy, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's Chandrakant Patil, yes, who's arriving at the Raj Bhavan now, Vishnu. So I believe Eknath Shinde is also part of this convoy that's just arriving at the Raj Bhavan as we speak. That's Praveen Darekar and more are arriving at this point. So yes, you can say BJP leader, state BJP President Chandrakant Patil has also arrived at the Raj Bhavan. And,
all right, so this is moving really fast. Just for the benefit of our viewers who've joined us now, Devendra Fadnavis set to return as Chief Minister of Maharashtra after a dramatic week, which has seen Uddhav Thackeray resigning after losing most MLAs in a Shiv Sena in a rebellion. Eknath Shinde, the man who led that revolt, is going to be Deputy Chief Minister. And these are images of that motorcade with Devendra Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde arriving at the Raj Bhavan, where they'll press their claim to the governor and are expected to take oath as well. Mr. Fadnavis and Mr. Shinde have already met, we are told, and they are now going to be meeting Bhagat Singh Koshyari, the governor of Maharashtra. They'll be staking claim to form the government right away. Mr. Fadnavis is likely to be sworn in as well quite shortly. That could take place today. This over 2 years after he took oath in a dawn ceremony but was forced to quit 4 days later. Uddhav Thackeray quit as Maharashtra Chief Minister yesterday, shortly after the Supreme Court ruled that he must prove his majority. The Shiv Sena chief was left with only 13 MLAs after the revolt that played out in 3 BJP-ruled states. Deepak Kesarkar, the spokesperson for the Shiv Sena rebels, has stressed that it was ideology, not expectations of big cabinet portfolios that led them to break with the Thackerays and go with the BJP. He also said the rebels did not betray Mr. Thackeray and still have love and respect for him. Nobody in the Shiv Sena is against the Thackeray family, is what he said, but significantly he asserted that the rebel faction is the Shiv Sena now, since Uddhav Thackeray is in a minority in the party. It's not a question of who is the real Shiv Sena. We have the legal majority, and thus ours is the legislature party, is what Eknath Shinde has been saying. Now that raises lots of questions. Arvind Gunasekara has been tracking the legal angle to all of this. But before I go across to him, this really is a meeting of victors. Devendra Fadnavis set to return after a couple of years as Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde, the bearded man next to him, who is very much the man of the moment, perhaps more the man of the moment than even Devendra Fadnavis. He will be Deputy Chief Minister, but he's going he has all the numbers. He's brought in 40 odd Shiv Sena MLAs, 10 independents, and therefore it's going to be a BJP-led government. It's going to be a BJP-led government with a fairly comfortable majority. Let's go across now to NDTV's Arvind Gunasekara. Arvind, how does it work from now? Because is it a battle for the symbol of the Shiv Sena, for the identity of the Shiv Sena? What legal standing does Eknath Shinde have? What legal standing does Uddhav Thackeray have to the legacy of the Shiv Sena?
So before getting into the party and symbol, now Eknath Shinde has to ensure that he is recognized as the legislature party leader of Shiv Sena inside the assembly. So that will be the foremost priority of Eknath Shinde. So after taking claim for the government along with Devendra Fadnavis, the moment Devendra Fadnavis is sworn in as the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, then both BJP and Eknath Shinde should come together and then they should go for the election of a speaker, because here the election of a speaker will play a very important role. The moment one of their own MLAs become the Speaker of Legislative Assembly or Assembly in Maharashtra, then that would go very easy for them, because Eknath Shinde can be recognized as the leader of Shiv Sena inside the Assembly, and his party MLA can be recognized as his camp MLA can be recognized as the chief whip of the party. So once that's done, then they can go for the floor test where Devendra Fadnavis can prove the majority inside the house. So that will be the foremost priority of Eknath Shinde, and that's what we are also hearing.
Right. So in other words, what you are saying is that it's quite easy for them in the state assembly to identify themselves as the real Shiv Sena. Wouldn't that be illegal? Because the argument which was being raised earlier is that for this faction to be recognized, that could only happen if they joined the BJP. But what you're suggesting is that that's not the case.
Yeah, Vishnu, they don't need to per se merge with any party, though the law, the anti-defection law says that two-third majority should merge with the party. But in this case, they will go for another route wherein they will elect a speaker and they will write to the speaker with the support of all these 40-odd Shiv Sena MLAs, saying that out of 55 Shiv Sena MLAs, 40-odd Shiv Sena MLAs have come together to recognize Eknath Shinde as the leader of the legislature
So the
party.
role of the speaker absolutely keen, and if they have a speaker who favors what it is that they will be suggesting, then they would effectively become the Shiv Sena in the interpretation of the speaker, is what they hope, right?
Yeah, Vishnu, that would be
and
the...
so they would try and... but that, right.